Good evening. Welcome to another live episode on Disqualified.Dads. Now, tonight, got a very special guest. He's a young man. He's going to talk us through the marriage scene, what is going on. He's a matchmaker, he's a trader, he's dabbling in quite a few things, but the main thing is he's 24. He's 24. He has been involved in matchmaking with a lot of young people, and he can give us an insight into the challenges that young people are facing in the marriage market currently. Now, though I know, and I know a lot of brothers who are going through divorce and going through a lot of issues and a lot of problems, and we understand there is a marriage crisis, there's a marriage and a divorce crisis, but we don't fully understand what the landscape is like for a 24-year-old currently. We don't fully understand that. So I want to get this guy's insight onto the marriage scene and what is actually happening. But before we bring him on, just want to say, if you want to come onto the stream at any point, ask any questions to me or the guest, there will be a link in the chat later on if you want to join in and just have a chat or bring any questions. Also, send in your super chats. For those of you who know, I am open to monetization. I am open to super chats and super thanks and all of that. So send in your super chats. I'll take your comments straight to the top and read them out. And yeah, we're trying to aim to be here most Sundays at 8 p.m. I'm going to try and keep it regular Sundays at 8 p.m. Different guests, trying to highlight, shed a light onto this whole situation from different angles. Now, something else I've got to mention before I bring him on. Right, one more thing. Those of you who know already, I have been mentoring and coaching fathers for a long time now. I'm a qualified life coach. I've got programs that I run to help fathers with their mindset, to help them get through the turmoil and, the hardship of, unfortunately, family court and being without your children. I believe now, going through my own journey, that mindset can overcome anything. If your mindset is right, you can conquer and overcome anything. I am a qualified life coach. It is a paid service. If you're interested in any of the programs, if you want me to help you with your mindset, help you get through this turmoil and trauma, and whilst you're, not just to get you through that, but to help you unlock your potential, to help you get past any situation, get some clarity in a situation, overcome fear and anxiety, many things. Life coaching, like I said, until I did it myself, until I got qualified myself, I've seen the power of coaching. So those of you who want help or are interested, drop me a DM or email me, and I can run you through some of my some of my programs to help you with your mindset, get through your trauma. Now, without further ado, let me just tell you who the guest is. Before I bring him on, I just want to tell you who he is. He is Omar. This is in his Instagram account, Omar King of Pips. He's a young trader. He's making money on trading. He's running education on trading. He's teaching people about trading. So he's quite a switched on young man. He's from the ends, West London. He's from Harlesden originally. And he's got quite a nice Instagram following, as you can see. So look him up, follow him, check him out. Now, without further ado, I'm going to bring him on and I'll let Omar introduce himself. Omar, welcome to Disqualified.Dads. Finally, I've pinned you down. Can you hear me, Omar?
How are you? Good?
Walaikum salam. Yeah, I'm good. Where you at, Omar?
Yeah,
like, don't look like London, man. Are you in London? You look like you're abroad somewhere.
Right now I'm in Pakistan, so it's around 12 a.m. here. It's quite dark right now at the moment. That's why with the lighting.
You on holiday, bro? You on
yes,
holiday?
I'm here for about 2 weeks. Two
you
weeks, bro.
matchmaking
So
out there?
here
You
for
matchmaking
me,
for yourself
family.
out there?
See some more potentials, bro. That's what it is.
Yeah, you're getting a bride. You're looking for some brides out there, yeah? You're holding out me, bro. You should have told me I'd have come with you, man.
Well, trust me, there's plenty to come around, bro. Trust me, there's plenty to go around, bro.
Omar, tell us a bit about yourself. Just give us a little intro into your background. Tell us about, I was just curious to know how you got into trading. Tell us a little bit about your trading and tell us a little bit about your matchmaking and how you got into all of this before we go any further. So just give us a little intro and a little background into yourself, please.
Yeah, so I started trading around June, July 2020. So just when COVID was happening. And effectively, I was seeing how the situations of the economy, how it was pretty much just collapsing in the UK. And a lot of businesses were getting shut down. A lot of people were being made redundant. And, there was no stability. So then I was looking at how can I effectively make a stream of income for myself, which is not dependent upon the system, and corporations and all these kind of things. So I've been studying trading for about pretty much nearly 4 years now. So with matchmaking service, I came into that about a year and a half ago now. So September 2022. No, sorry,
Okay, so
September 2020. Yeah, September 2022.
okay, before you go on about the matchmaking, tell me a little bit more about your trading. So, you said you've been studying your trading for about 4 years, yeah. So, how much study are we talking? Like, I mean, is it like an in-depth study, or just dabbling with it and learning
Yeah,
on the job, or properly studying the markets?
yeah. So with the study and how it works is that you need to first learn the correct information. You need to navigate the whole BS that you see on the internet with regards to, the marketing side of it. So there's a lot of kind of lifestyle when it's related to forex. It's kind of just promoting, just like it's like a BS lifestyle to effectively front for a certain way of living, and then it's not in the reality of how trading is effectively, you need to be disciplined, you need to be, on point, you need to be of a mindset of, risk management. You can't be somebody who's reckless when it comes to, your everyday lifestyle. You need to be well rounded as an individual in order to do well in this market. And then on top of that as well, you need to learn the correct information, and you start applying the information, and then once you start applying that, you start putting money on top of that. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
so studying the charts, effectively
So
study. You got
for
to
a good,
spend time studying the
yeah,
charts,
exactly.
yeah, as well. Okay,
Yeah,
no,
so
fair
spend
enough.
time studying charts. You need to back test. You need to test out your strategies, and you need to make sure that you're not going crazy with your risk. Because how it is at least for the first 2-3 years, you're gonna be spending a lot of your time learning, and then
Mm.
solidifying in your strategy, in your mindset, in the discipline, and then you can start to add more risk on. But what a lot of people do is, what they tend to do is they get into the market, let's say within a month, 2 months, 3 months or so, and they start putting down crazy amounts of risk. And then when price starts to go against them, they go into further and further drawdown. And then with their emotions take over then, because this is what is when they say 90% of this game is psychology based. So, but the 10% is needed for the technical analysis. You need that in order to understand the psychology of it. But the psychology is related to over risking, over trading, whatever examples are there. So just like not following your rules, trading outside your session, breaking risk parameters, and a variety of different rules. So it's all rules based, and this is how to effectively navigate this market.
Basically, stops you from getting greedy. To put it simply, man can get greedy and just get carried away. Yeah, a few little
Yeah,
wins, get greedy, get carried away, and start
yeah.
gambling and
So
lose
the
serious loads of
market,
money. Basically,
what one of the quotes in the trading is, greed and fear runs the market. And how it is right. So anytime you're seeing price at a high point, a lot of people have bought there. So when they've bought there, and then somebody else ends up buying there, the other people who have already bought, who are in profit, they start selling there, and then price starts to come down. And then just understanding these basic concepts, but people seem to just like not understand them, and they just like, it's like going into a store and you're just buying something which was, let's say, £20, but you're buying it for like £30, even though you should have been buying it at 20, but you buy it at 30. You've effectively taken a loss there. You know.
okay, no, it's quite a good insight. We'll have to talk about this a lot more on another stream or another time. I'll have to touch base with you. You've got to teach me some of this stuff, man. Join your little forum, I think. So moving on. So let's talk about
Yeah,
matchmaking. So a year and a half ago, you
for
got into
sure, for
match.
sure.
How did you get into matchmaking? Tell me this.
Yeah, so when it comes to experience in this field here, I've spent around the same amount of time for the last probably over 3 years, 3, 4 years. So in about a year and a half, I came across a problem which is occurring in when it came to university students and when it came to graduates. Now, a lot of people are not there's no marriage service when it comes to the universities. They don't provide a marriage service, and then even the masjids, right? So when you go to the local mosques, pretty much majority of them they don't provide marriage services either. So you need to kind of navigate your own life to find a partner, and then also a lot of my friends and people who I know at university, they didn't find anybody who they were studying with that they were compatible with, and that's another issue as
Okay.
well. So majority of university students, like more than 90% of them, who are Muslim, they don't find somebody who's a compatible partner that they can settle down with.
Okay. So you've noticed that over the last, say, 4 years ago, you noticed this issue. People, in university, they're leaving university, but they've not found a partner. They're now in their mid-20s without someone, without a potential to get married to. What are their options after that if they don't find no one? And what are their options?
Yeah, so how it is like what I'm seeing is how a lot of guys are struggling when it comes to just dealing with women, being able to even just get options. So when it's related to women, to effectively get them to submit to them, to respect them, and to show compliance. And how, when it comes to women's psychology and mindset, a lot of guys are not understanding how, for men and women, they're polar opposite. Their mindsets are completely different. So with women, their currency is attention. Now, throughout, like even throughout university, and then later on, I've had women, like, very attractive women in terms of facially and then looks wise. I've had them work for me as well. So I've been able to do that and then get customers to pay them and then pay me. So it sounds crazy, innit? So it's like, it
Hold
seems
on,
like a bad
bro.
example. You know how like you got the pimp and the prostitute.
Yeah, man, you're pimping, bro. What, you're big pimping, bro. What you saying, man? I thought we were talking about marriage, bro. You're out there
No,
pimping.
no, I'm not saying no. I'm not saying
I'm joking.
no, no. I'm not gonna.
So you're saying you had,
No,
okay,
no,
so
not.
what you're saying, just so I
I'm not
understand
saying
what you're
I'm
saying,
doing.
yeah? You
I'm
said
saying
you
there's
employed
certain content.
beautiful women. You're saying you employed
Yeah,
pretty ladies, pretty women, beautiful women to
yeah.
work for you. And those
To
women
to
used
do
to
marketing for
interact
me.
with your
So there was
customers. They used to do marketing
yeah,
for you, and they were getting better results because of obviously
yeah,
their physical, their attractive, because of how attractive they were. That's what you're saying. So clients were more happy to engage with them
yeah,
and pay
exactly.
and
So
part of
how
their
it is right.
money.
So when it came to
Hence, the business
growing,
made money.
yeah, yeah. So when it came to related to, like, let's say growing my social media, when it came to, so I used to do computer tests at university, right? So I was these maths tests, and effectively I needed help with the marketing side of it as well. So I had, women work for me where they get a small percentage, but it wasn't nothing crazy. But they would effectively bring the clients to me, and then the clients would then pay me directly. And the women were influencing them and persuading them to
They were
do
drawing in the
business with
crowd.
Omar,
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
they were
And then
pulling in
after
the
that as
crowd
well, when it came
basically.
to, like, yeah, exactly, yeah, exactly. And then
Okay.
after that, with that marketing side of it as well, so being able to, so with women, right, when it comes to looks wise, they effectively are more, they get noticed a lot easier when it comes to men. So majority of men are very weak around women. Now I want to be explaining all these concepts as well afterwards as well. But when it comes to sexual indifference and all these kind of things, in myself, I'm very, I'm very principle based. I'm not somebody who breaks my rules. I'm someone who's objective. I try to be objective at all times. And the way I deal with women as well is just that I effectively have little to no attention that I give to them, and then effectively I'm able to use that to get them to comply.
Okay, but they're employees now. So okay, look, let's go any further then. Okay, so let me understand this. You notice the issue with the marriage market for people in their 20s, university students, what their marriage prospects and options are. So what did you do then? Did you then say to yourself, hold on, I've got an idea.
Yeah,
I'm going to pair people together, introduce people,
yeah.
match
So
up potential for marriage. How did you come to that conclusion that I'm going to do this, and how did you get into it? What did you do?
yeah. So with that, right, as I was saying from the beginning, people at university and people who are graduates, pretty much majority now, people are around my age, they're not married and they haven't got a partner who they haven't got options to choose from. It's
Okay.
one of them situations right now. It's like a lot of guys right now are being starved in the market now. They're not even able to have an interaction with a woman where they can get her to comply. And let's say if they want to set up like some sort of marriage meeting or some sort of, you know, to
Okay. So
to
can I?
discuss to speak to them for marriage purposes. Does that make
Okay, I
sense?
get that, right? So let me ask you a question then. So I'm only asking because obviously you're in the scene, you're in the market, you're in that age group and whatnot. Yeah. So what about all the apps that we got now, Musmatch and this match and Muslim something or other? There's all these apps and matchmaking apps for Muslims. What about them? Are they successful? Are people using them? Are people in their 20s using them? Do they rely on them?
Yeah, so with those ones, those are all pretty much predominantly targeting Muslims in general. My one here is specifically for the
Okay,
first matchmaking service for Muslim university students and graduates. Does that make sense? So like
specifically,
that specific
yeah.
niche. Now there wasn't any other matchmaking service. Yeah, that specific niche. It wasn't any other matchmaking service or any other dating app related to the Muslims, which applied to that specific niche. So
Hmm.
university students and graduates. So a lot of people, especially when it comes to the woman side of it, women tend to always look for a superior in all aspects of life, so mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And then when it came to like let's say pen and paper side of it, when it comes to like degree, if she's got a degree or she's educated, she ideally wants somebody with the same level of education or higher,
Okay, so fine.
solving the
Look,
need and
so
solving the problem.
okay, no, I get that, but my point is this. What I'm trying to get to is this. So you saw this issue with university students specifically. So you decided, all right, I'm gonna create a website and do a matchmaking service. And did you make an app or a group, or how did you go about doing this? How does one go about setting up a matchmaking service? How did you advertise
Yeah.
yourself as a
So
matchmaker?
with
Just
this,
out of
right?
curiosity.
So how it works is from the beginning part of it, what I did was create a website, got the website created by outsourcing.
Hmm.
And then I had got women, so like Muslim girls, to effectively DM a bunch of people, so guys as well on WhatsApp, other social media platforms like Instagram, etc., and get brothers to sign up. So get them signed up, and then also they would get sisters to sign up as well, and then
Hmm.
go it from there. So he's doing really good numbers as well. And then alongside, I got other influencers like I'm not sure have you heard of Ali Dawa as well. So I got him to give it
Hmm.
a shout out quite a few times as well. And then he was able to bring a good amount of people, leaflets,
Oh,
going to the
nice,
masjids, going to
nice.
universities, speaking to people, getting all. So it's just like really hustling.
Yeah,
It's just
man.
like that's what it is.
Sounds
That's how
like
it is with any business. You're literally just growing it from ground up.
no. It sounds like it's out there, bro. Sounds like you're out there. Okay, no. Okay, so carry on. So from then on, then with all these issues that you're saying, a few
I'm
things that
very
you mentioned.
I'm very accessible.
Yeah, no, clearly, man, you're getting out there, bro. I can't believe it's that far out. I'll have to check out your website, bro. I'll have to check this website out. So from that website, everything you just said prior to us getting to how you set it
Yeah.
up and your website and whatnot, which I'll try and bring it out on your Instagram later just so people can see where it is. Uh, where did you get all this knowledge? So
Yeah.
look, we know about obviously the red pill. The red pill, as we've discussed off camera, and what we know is the red pill is the knock-on effect of the current society we find ourselves in. The red pill is the knock-on effect of it's a consequence of the family court system. It's a family court. It's a knock-on effect and consequence of the family
Mm.
laws in predominantly the Western countries, UK, America, Europe, Australia, New Zealand. So, with what men are going through in these countries, the knock-on effect, last 2 years, red pill has really come into the sort of more mainstream, yeah. Whereas before it was all sort of in the dark web. Now, when I
Mm.
listen to some of the stuff, that's come out with red pill, and look, let's clarify what red pill is. It's just red pill is just information and knowledge of the intersexual dynamics, the gender dynamic, you've got the behavior of each gender with each other, and the intersexual dynamics of both genders, basically, right? Yeah. And don't get me wrong, a lot of this stuff is when you hear it as a man, it was like the stuff that you always knew, you just never knew how to articulate it. They articulated this information very well in a very well organized manner. So when you say, you've said some of the stuff you have about men don't know how to present themselves, how limited their options are, how men are invisible. Obviously, I presume that's the same in uni, where men is very hard, a lot hard for men to get noticed. Where did you get all your information from? Your study? Did you study this also? How did you collate your knowledge around this subject to then be an effective matchmaker, so to speak?
So when it comes to information, right, so you need several things. So you need the correct information, you need experience, and then you need to keep repeating that over and over again and developing yourself alongside that. So when it comes to the information, we always look back to the deen. Now, a lot of Muslims nowadays, unfortunately, they're kind of looking at the whole lovey-dovey type, give love to a woman. The more love you give to her, the more she's going to submit and comply, when it's in fact the opposite. Now, a lot of people on the Muslim YouTube channels, they're not talking about how there was a time period, right, where when Prophet Muhammad SAW was dealing with his wives, right, so he had 9 wives at one point, how he went into isolation for about 30 plus days. That was effectively to gain power back in the relationships, and to, when they were showing bad behavior, when they weren't complying, they weren't submitting, they were giving him a hard time, he withdrew his attention. Now, as I said from the beginning of the live stream, attention is a currency, and it's the most valuable currency to women. The more attention you effectively give as a man, the less valuable it becomes. Now,
Mm-hmm.
that's a very key concept which majority of brothers, so even from Muslim side of it, are lacking in. They don't understand. So even related to the making eye contact, lowering your gaze, so being, straight and direct with women, having principles, having boundaries, having a set standard for yourself, having a filter system for women. These are all things which the Deen teaches us. And then
So,
being able to speak to several different women, and as I was telling you before, when it comes not getting blinded by looks. So a lot of brothers, because of pornography and all this other sexual content which is available on the internet, a lot of these guys are consuming this, and then their energy levels are going down with it. You know, you, they're not able to maintain masculine frame. Women are
okay.
effectively attracted to the masculine frame, and then principles and boundaries, and then man with a level of respect for himself.
Okay, yeah, just like we're on YouTube, yeah. So just use the word corn if you need to. Let's not use the P word, yeah. Use corn instead, as I know other YouTubers don't use that word. It does, affects the
Oh,
algorithm and whatnot. Yeah. So don't use the P word. Use another word for it. Bad images, where
okay.
use the female images,
Apologies
something
about
else.
that.
So okay, let me ask you a question then, yeah. How did you get this knowledge?
Mm,
How did you attain this information
mm.
knowledge? Now, you referred back to Islam and being, you referred back to the Prophet's last one, his wives, and his way of living. Did you derive this information from
So.
Islam itself? Did you study? Did you study red pill? Did you follow a red pill content? I mean, how did you? I mean, how does one know this? Because look, being in my 20s, 30s, married, long time, divorced,
So,
looking at the whole situation. I've got, before even I got married at 30, so even prior to me getting married, let's just say I had enough life experience to know certain things and understand certain things that I couldn't articulate how you articulated it now. At the time, we couldn't, because that vocabulary wasn't out there because of the conditioning of the time we're in. Yeah. Solely, like I said, the last 2 years, the way the red pill, fresh and
mm.
fit, Andrew Tate, and all the others, Rolo Tomasi, the original founder of the red pill, and what was that other guy that was really good, the black guy, well-known black guy for the red pill? He's died now. He was
Ex Phyllis. Oh no, he
no
ain't that.
bloody flipping it, names
Oh
gone,
yeah, I
man.
think Kevin Summers.
Kevin
Kevin
Samuels,
Summers.
that's it, legend. Kevin Samuels, absolute legend. But look, when they come out with it and the way they articulated it, as a man, there's things they
Yeah.
say, people might be in shock and all next one, but as a man, you relate to it straight away, you connect to it straight away. And when you've been through the family court system and been chewed out through the meat grinder, left out to dry, yeah, left for dead basically. When you hear all of this, all the pieces fall into place. You think, yeah, that's exactly how it was. Bam, 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 bam. Now, that information's only been out the last 2 years. how did you get, about, withdrawing attention, this and that, lowering your gaze, obviously from Islam. But did you derive this information from Islam, or your study of Islam add to that what you studied in Red Pill, and how did people in their 20s view all of this? I mean, this information wasn't out when I was in my 20s, which wasn't that long ago. So only a few years ago I was in my 20s, right? Yeah, not that long ago. This information wasn't out there. So when a 24-year-old, when people in their 20s get all this information, do they understand all of this fully? And if you've not been for the meat grinder or a breakdown in a relationship, you've not had the emotional and the relationship dynamics with a woman, or haven't got that sort of experience, it's even harder to understand these things. So how did you decipher and get this knowledge? That's what I want to know. And how do youngsters perceive all of this now, people in their 20s?
Yeah, so as I was saying before, so it goes back to it. So men need to understand several key concepts. So related to
No, but
the
what I'm saying,
inside of it,
Omar,
so
how did
becoming
you,
well-rounded
how
as an
did,
individual. A lot of brothers,
no,
unfortunately.
Omar, how did
How did I?
you,
How did I? So
yeah,
that's what it goes
yeah, I
back
need
to.
to
So
know
as I was
how
telling you,
you
so
got this knowledge,
trial
like,
and error. So
sorry,
it
go on,
goes
yeah,
back
go
to it.
on.
It goes back to it. So as I said, you need to learn the correct information. So being around masculine men. So as that's an example. Being around masculine men, you learn masculinity. Women are attracted. You have to understand the basics when it comes to women's psychology. Women are attracted to masculinity. A lot of brothers
Mhm.
and a lot of guys in general, they don't know what masculinity is. If you ask them what masculinity is, they don't know what it is. They can't explain it. They just say, "Oh, it's
I
just a
agree.
male or female, or it's just like the certain gender that you're given." It's like no. As I was telling you, so it goes back to principles, boundaries. Not compromising on your core values and beliefs, being assertive in who you are, and where you're going, and what your objective is and your purpose. That's what is your God-given purpose, and to not be swayed by women, because women are going to effectively give these tests. So those are effectively called interest tests, also known as S tests, SHIT tests. So those are, you could see them as people. A lot of brothers, they think they're games. They're not games. They're just tests, that psychology based tests to effectively test who you are as a man. Now, that is to poke holes in your character and who you are as a person. This is why women say they love a man with confidence. They love a man with personality. They're not just saying these things. This is what they've attracted to. Women fall in love with the interior of a man. Now, a lot of these things, right? A lot of these qualities I've developed through experience, life experience, through several hardships that I had experienced from a young age. Now, there's certain things that I can't say on camera and stuff like that, but in comparison to a lot of people around me, they didn't kind of grow up in similar environments. They didn't grow up like in the same household, similar type households, similar type environments, and to be able to learn these things. This is why I was able to really pick up the pace from a young age.
So
So
you're
being around
learning,
men,
so
that's what
okay.
it is. When it comes to masculinity, you can only learn that from being around masculine men.
Okay, so let me ask you then straight. You explained to me now, I mean, you sort of touched on it, but just want to clarify. So you're saying masculinity is a man who has his principles, his morals, he sticks by them, someone who won't compromise himself for others, or for a woman, or for any other reason. You're saying these personality traits is what makes a man
Yeah,
masculine. Am I correct?
yeah, yeah. And this needs to be developed for each and every single individual. This is not something that you're born with.
Okay, so how does a
And you
young
have to
man
also
develop
realize
this?
with the whole system, the system now, a lot of people are still a lot of people are still asleep when it comes to the system. Now, the system controls pretty much predominantly everything. So the information that you're consuming related to social media, related to what you're seeing in the red pill movement, all these kind of things. These are all divisions set amongst people. Now, if you're not able to understand these things and realize that this information out there is bad information, and a lot of people have been programmed with beta male tendencies. So understanding the alpha and the beta. So this is alpha is a mindset. It's not with how you look in terms of as a guy. So that's what I was telling you about women fall in love with the interior. So you got many women who are seen as attractive looks wise, but then with a guy who's not really looks wise that good looking, he may not even have that much money, or for some reason why she's still with him and falling in love with him is because she values his manhood over other things. And this is what I was trying to relate it back to the, that example that was given at the beginning, where several women go to that guy and give the guy money. It's because there's certain masculine qualities within him that she values more than the monetary side of it. So a lot of guys nowadays, they've been programmed with their male tendencies to think that, let me just go out there, get more money. Let me go and get a career. Let me go and get a nice house. Let me go and get a nice car. And they think that that's what's going to attract a woman. Now, if you lead with your wallet and you lead with materialistic things that are tangible, guess what's going to happen? Allah's going to test you with calamities. He's going to effectively take that away from you one day. And then guess what's going to happen? The woman's going to leave with them. Now, if you're somebody with principles and boundaries, and you set it from the get-go, anytime she does give you these tests that women do, the psychological tests, you're able to pass them. And then you've not put a price on your manhood. It doesn't matter if you had £1 million in your bank account or if you had a penny. Your principles and boundaries shouldn't be compromised. And that's what women fall in love with.
Okay, look, right. Let me jump in here. Let's dissect this so I fully understand it. Yeah, because look, I'm finding this quite interesting, this conversation now. Right? Look, so you sort of describe the alpha and the beta male, right? Yeah. Now, when you said the beta, you're saying just because he has a house and nice car, wallet, but does that not also demonstrate some sort of, a sort of high achieving male and alpha male, whatever you want to label it, as someone who's been through something, achieved something, some sort of status, whether it be financial status? You still have to go get that money and work for that money, or study, do overtime, sacrifice. Does that not demonstrate that you've been through something to get that money, so it gives you a little bit of leverage? I mean, how is that still beta? I don't understand how you can relate having money to beta male behavior.
Women see that, and then they're not attracted to how much you've got in your bank account. So let's say, for example, you had £1 million, or you had 10 million or 100 million, or whatever the case is, and it was written on your forehead. Women are not attracted to that. It doesn't. You have to realize there's a feeling in women, which all women have. It's called hypergamy. Now, a lot of guys and they don't seem to understand this. It's a feeling. So
what I'm saying.
So that's one aspect when it comes to providing and protecting.
Yeah, but if you got money, you're providing, don't it?
Yeah,
but look, if a brother's got money, just look, bear with me here. Look, a guy has demonstrated that he's financially. Let's put it simply. Let's not talk about money. A guy has demonstrated that he has the capability to provide. Will that not give her a feeling in her hypergamous nature that, right, boom, he's a good one, he's a provider, that's a good start, initial attraction. He has saturated that need, that hypergamous need, for her thinking, right, he can provide for me and my seed. Boom, that's the start. Yeah, okay, she doesn't know him yet. We don't know his personality, we don't know his boundaries, we don't know if he's an alpha or not. Maybe women can tell where he carries himself, but let's just say she don't know. Let's say he's giving off neutral energy. She don't know if he's alpha or beta, but the first tick box tick, hypergamy box tick, he's a provider. He can provide me luxury, wealth, comfort for me and our children. That's got him, basically, that's got the foot in the door. That's got him an entry ticket. That's got him a conversation, isn't it? It's a starting point, yes or no? Or what do you think?
It's one of the metrics. It's women look at everything. So not just from they look at your physical side of it, so in terms of looks wise, what you're wearing, how you conduct yourself, how you are in terms of your approaching with other interactions with other people. Men, as I was telling you, men and women are completely different. They look at all the smallest of details, and then they're effectively trying to poke holes in your character and manhood, and see what kind of man you are in related to other men. So she's looking for the best possible man that she can get in comparison to other men. You understand? And if, as I was telling you before, if you're leading with the wallet and with your money, then you're going to be in a world of disaster. That's what's going to be happening, because then it's going to be from a transactional perspective. Leverage. And this is where brothers are making a mistake.
No, okay, I get what you're saying, but my point is initially, okay, so let me put it this way, yeah? There's two guys here, right, yeah? Let's say there's let's say it's a group of 5 lads in university. They're all equal in their mental capacity. They're reasonably okay looking. decent lads. You're in university, they're just normal, down to earth lads, confident enough to get by in society, but they're not overly flashy and they're not too quiet. They've got a neutral, balanced energy about them. But one of them has a bit of money, so that money will amplify him. So let's say when there's a girl looking at them, other than their personal preferences in looks, that guy will stand out that little bit more. They'll just get him that foot in the door, innit? I'm just saying. I'm not saying you should lead by it. I'm not saying money's the answer to everything, but even for
if
the
all factors are
hypergamous
equal,
nature,
if all factors are equal, right?
it's all factors were equal. He's already got one. He's got leverage there with his money because the girl will look and think, well, hold on, though. He's already a bit more
Yeah, he's got.
financially established. Hence, he can provide for me and my seed. He can provide for me and my baby. Will that not give him a little bit more of an edge on one metric? I'm saying that will tick her hypergamous need on that aspect. I'm saying.
Yeah, it's one metric. It's one metric, but it's not. It's not the most important metric, which I
No,
was
I
trying to
get
tell you.
that.
And I'm trying to get
I
this
get
across
that.
to the viewers and people who.
No, I get that. I get that. Okay, so let me put another thing to you, which is bugging me. I just got to get it out there. So let's talk about the alpha. You're saying the alpha, from all the research and study you've done, alpha's not necessarily the guy with the most money. He's not necessarily the best looking guy. It's something, what you're saying is an energy that he gives off. It's internal to his character, how he walks, how he carries himself, how confident he is. But you could also say, right, then an alpha to a certain degree, especially, look, you're from Harlesden, right? Yeah, you're from the streets, you're from Harlesden, you're from West London, I'm from East London. I was originally born in Preston, Deepdale, fraud capital of the country, lived in London for a
Northwest.
long time, East London and whatnot. Yeah. Now, you could describe an alpha on the street as someone potentially who's who has the capability of violence, who's prepared to engage in violence, who's demonstrated he's not scared to go there. He's has maybe
Yeah.
slight aggressive demeanor. That can also be seen as an alpha. A lot of these UFC fighters, people are going to the cage, people are going to fighting arts and compete. They are classed, even Dana White, I've heard him describe, they're all alphas. That's their nature, that's their character. So not every man, and my point is that
It's one of the
could also be
characteristics. It's
seen.
one of the characteristics.
Oh, it is. Okay, so you tell me about that. What do you think about that? And also coming from the fact that you're from Northwest London, you're from the street, you understand the street energies. Someone's giving you a bad look, you know whether you're going to mess with that guy or not. Yeah, you know that energy. Yeah, whether anything happened or not, but you know the energy that type of character gives off. So would you class that as an alpha? And where does that fit into normal society where not everyone wants to engage in violence? I mean, it's nothing to be proud of. I don't think that should be the metric for being the alpha either. But what do you say to that?
So, as I was saying when I told you from the beginning, so an alpha mindset is a mindset, and then the second thing is you need to be excelling in all four arenas. So mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally.
Okay.
Now, if you're lacking in any of these areas, your alpha is questionable. You need to be somebody who's excelling in all these areas, and this is what the dean teaches. The dean teaches, which was the best example, which was Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Now, he was in wars, he killed people, he was compassionate, he was merciful, he was able to deal with people, he was very emotionally intelligent, he had been through several hardships and experiences, he was good with women, he had the physical side of it as well. So he didn't eat none of this processed garbage that you're seeing on in what the system is given to people. It was very organic. It was very healthy. He was very strong. And the fact is, if any altercation was to arise, which you gave the example of, if an altercation was to arise, he's willing to die on his principles. So as a
Okay. Right.
shaheed, this is where the
Yeah.
shaheed comes in. So where a person dies as a martyr to protect himself and protect his family, and then women are attracted to that as well by default.
Okay. So just so I understand, so your breakdown is he has to be being an alpha or alpha male, call it a high value male. An alpha type of male is a mindset, it's a personality, and it's certain characteristics. So you have to be excelling in your emotional, psychological, intellectual health and well-being or expansion of your mind. You have to be on your spiritual journey. 100%, I agree, bro. Without spirituality, you ain't got nothing as far as I'm concerned. So you got to be growing spiritually, understanding the higher purpose, which then gives you these morals and principles because you have a higher purpose beyond wealth. So the spiritual complements all of it. The spiritual gives it all purpose. Without that, everything else is meaningless. You're saying he has to be emotionally intelligent. So grow yourself emotionally, know how to talk with elders, men, youngsters, how to navigate emotional situations and whatnot. But that is a journey and life. I think you can only grow emotionally through life ultimately. I believe it's not just something that you can teach yourself, right? And you're saying it's not necessarily
Yeah.
a guy who's aggressive or demonstrate that he ain't scared to fight anyone, or not necessarily someone who's just prepared to engage in violence. Is someone who could be a normal guy, but in order to protect your, for example, let's say for argument's sake, me and you are two normal guys. But if push came to shove, in order to protect our loved ones or our property or our principles to some degree, we're prepared to go the distance if it comes to it. So you don't have to be the most aggressive guy on the street or that violent type or a thug or nothing like that or gangster, none of this shit. Yeah, you just got to be someone who knows when the time comes, if it kicks off, in order to protect your people, protect your missus, your family, your children, your mom. You will step in line. You'll take that bullet or whatever it is. You'll stand in the line of fire if and when it comes to it. Because, like I said, bravery. I think just especially for the youngsters, this idea that you have to be violent or aggressive, I think there's a load of crap. It's just you have to be. Bravery comes in many forms, and as long as you can demonstrate bravery in different arenas, workplace, home life, streets. If you can demonstrate that, that is the fourth metric. So you're saying he has to be balanced in all of them and someone who has those principles and morals. That's what makes you someone of that status.
Yeah. So this is what it is. Ultimate strength comes from God. Now, if God is on your side, He's going to give you the ultimate confidence in life. He's going to pave ways and open doors for you. He's going to
Okay.
remove all obstacles that you go through. So there's going to be trials and tribulations that you're going to go through, and He's going to help you navigate life. Now, if you're on the opposite side of that, which is the devil's path, Shaitan's path, you're not going to be able to gain those benefits that God can only give you. This is why we give the
Okay.
example of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu. As I said, he was somebody who killed people in war. He was very emotionally intelligent. He had a compassionate side to him. He had a strong network. He was very socially aware, and he was able to come across several arenas in life and to be able to do well.
Okay. So ultimately, the first thing has to be then the spirituality. The first metric to
Spirituality,
beyond that realm has to
spirituality is
be
linked to everything.
your spirituality, your iman, your deen has to be first. Then, isn't it? That, from what it sounds like, because all of the other factors, all of the other metrics fall onto that. That's the foundation.
Yeah, and that
Because
with that alone, you'll be able to get women to submit in relationships, and you'll be able to get them to respect you.
okay, so but this is what I'm saying then. That once you're in a relationship, so once a girl, let's say you manage to get that far, you get married and you get in a relationship, those traits can carry you through. Yeah, that will determine the dynamics in the relationship, right? Yeah, that's what you're saying, and that will make it successful or whatnot, or like keep that relationship on track. But
Yeah.
how
So
does someone
how
like
you start
that?
is how you finish, though, as well.
No, but this is what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. So my point, my point is this. So how does someone of that nature get through the door? Get the like, get the introduction? Are you with me? Because surely to that is a personality she'll get to know and then fall in line with potentially. So yeah, that's what we're saying. But how does he get even to the front door? How does he get a girl to the door, the first stop, the first right click? This guy looks good, or speak to someone in the family, say I like that guy, let's talk to his family. How does he get that, man? Because everything else you'll get to know him. You with me?
Yeah. So it goes back to he needs to remove the programming in society, which he's been given. Now, a lot of people have been indirectly through their subconscious. It's gone from the conscious brain into the subconscious. They've been programmed with beta male tendencies. Now, if they have not worked on themselves and removed these tendencies, and removed the programming, then they can never progress. Do you understand? So
Okay.
with the, if you,
Give me
that's
an
the first step.
example.
So
Okay, so give me an
so one
example.
of
What does
them
that
is,
look like?
for example, a lot of, guys or brothers, Muslim guys, they're thinking that, oh, okay, let me just go out there, let me just focus on, prayers and salah and all these things, and which is all good. That's all, stuff you need to be working on. And now let me focus on career. And then what they try and do is they try and lead with that. So they're like, oh, okay, I'm doing really well. I've got a profession in this career here, and I'm someone on deen and stuff. Women, when they see someone like that, you're trying to sell yourself to a woman. Okay, hypergamy
Okay.
isn't satisfied. It needs to be the opposite. So now in today's generation, in today's world, women are not dependent upon men. This is why the arena and the game has become, it's at advanced level right now. It's not a
Okay.
situation where it was like 100 years ago where women depended upon men for survival and for money and to live, for protection. They know full well that they can just go and get a job. They'll make their own money. They'll be able to get their own accommodation. And then if anything, if there's a situation that arises, they'll just call the police. There's no
Okay.
respect
Look.
left from that side of it, and this is why men need to gain the power back in their situation. Retain their attention, and to value their attention, because as I said to you, women's currency is attention, and men are just dishing out attention day in day out to women. They're trying to put them on the pedestal. They're trying to say, oh yeah, I'm able to offer you this, I'm able to offer you this lifestyle, this and that. Women get icked by that and they get turned off from that, and they, guess what happens? They start to pull away.
Okay. So how does how does one trigger a woman's hypergamy in order to get that attraction to then potentially be married? Do you see what I'm saying? So let's say you're in, let me put it another way, let's put it into practical terms, yeah? Some brothers come to you say, right, listen, they come to your marriage service, and some sisters come to you saying, listen, I need a brother to get married to, blah, blah, blah. Guy and girl have come to you, they're on your, they come to you, your, what do you call it, your
On my
matchmaker
app, yeah,
service.
matchmaking service app,
Yeah,
yeah.
so they've come to your service, right? So what do you say to the guy? So you've arranged a meeting, say to this guy, right, you're going to go meet this sister, or whatever, for a coffee or chit chat or a Zoom call or at a house with a brother, whatever the situation is, yeah? What advice do you give that guy to say? Because my point is, you're saying this, I understand it, but how do you say to him in practical terms, brother, you need to trigger her hypergamous nature? You start as you mean to go on. Now, you could fire all this information at him. The guy could just get lost, bro. Like, what does it all mean? It's information, it's in raw black and white form. How do you apply that in a first meeting? So he's gone to meet her for a coffee. How do you trigger? What advice would you give them in digestible sizes, in a digestible biscuit, to say your objective is to trigger her hypergamous nature as a woman, because men to her are just a luxury now. She don't need you, you're a luxury. Whereas before, like you said, forget 100 years ago, bro, 20, 30 years ago, we could go back, right? It was different, where you could argue a man, a woman could do a woman's life potentially, you could argue, could be made easier if she had a man in her life, whether he was working, providing, if she could become a homemaker, or it's just someone in your life to support you who was the stronger gender at the time. But like you said, women she don't need no man. She's in university with him. They're both doing degrees. She might get better grades than him. Do you know what I'm saying? Women can earn that money. Even
Yeah.
so, even from a community perspective, that's subconsciously programming, like you said. You don't need a man, yeah? You're independent. So when he goes to this dinner table, this coffee table, she's sitting across him, he walked up, sat down. How does he exuberate that energy which will trigger her hypergamous nature, so she'll look beyond the fact that I don't need him, I don't need his money, I don't need him giving me orders, I don't need to be making dinners for him or doing his dishes, nothing. How does he trigger that when she thinks, you know what, I want to be with him, I like this guy? Do you see what I'm saying? How do you do that? How do you trigger
Yeah.
that hypergamy?
Yeah.
Take your
Yeah.
time. Allow
So
me to
it's
take
really
your time
simple.
and really think about this.
Yeah. No, no, already got it. Already got it all mapped
Oh,
out.
okay, go on. Let's go. Let's
so,
go.
if, so he needs to let her know from the get go that he's on principles and boundaries. So there's things that he's effectively looking for in a woman. So if a woman's asking him a question, now if there's any type of hint that he's getting, which is towards a transactional perspective, where she's saying, if she's been programmed by her parents, right, which are a lot of, for example, in the Pakistani community, they're very transactional based. They're like, oh yeah, get a guy who's of career, of status, and this, and that. So if a girl is asking you these kind of questions, you need to put it in a way which is effectively, you need to let her know that you don't value these things here on the way that other people value them. So you don't lead with your wallet. You're not gonna disclose how much your income is, because a lot of brothers make this mistake. They're like, oh yeah, I'm earning like, let's say 30k, 50k, or whatever, blah blah blah, and I'm doing this type of lifestyle. You need to switch the role where she's effectively trying to sell to you. Now, the way to do that is you need to, as I said, maintain masculine frame. You need to understand women's psychology in the sense of curiosity. Women are curious by nature. Now, if you're somebody in the first meeting who just gives everything, yeah, and just tells everything, oh yeah, I'm doing this is what my routine is, I'm going to here this weekend, and then I'm doing this and that. With women, they like the sense of, you need to be like a book, and then page by page she's reading you. This is their nature, to understand you. If you're somebody who just like everybody else, she'll just disqualify you based off of that alone. So men are getting disqualified without even realizing it. The women are just getting pulled away and just getting kicked out from guys, because, as I said, they've switched it where they're trying to sell themselves to the woman, and then by default hypergamy isn't satisfied.
Okay, so look, because let's put it another way though. Yeah, let me try and tackle this another way then. Yeah. So look, the guy's gone. He's gone for this meeting. Yeah, to have a coffee, right? Yeah. Now, like you said, disclose information. You're there to chit chat. She needs to like you, so you have to give a little bit. You have to show a little bit of yourself and your personality. You're saying just don't get too carried away. Yeah, just don't be completely open book where you just spill everything.
So you need to show some value in the sense of where you're attainable to her, but you shouldn't be showing all of your value to her within the first 5-10 minutes or the first meeting, if that makes sense. She needs to see within you that you're somebody of potential, but you can't lay out all your cards, if that makes sense.
Okay, right. So yeah, I get it. Because look, the problem is with this, it comes down to the power dynamics. Yeah. So this comes down to the power dynamics or your social dynamics to a certain degree. So let's say you go to that coffee table. This girl's stunning, bro. She's 10 out of 10, absolutely stunning. You like her, you're attractive. My point is in this transaction, you're sitting there. If you perceive yourself as, really comfortable and confident, it won't matter. That will come out, that naturally show. But if you're thinking, look, I want to try and attain her, so you got to show a little bit of honey first, and it show like,
you're already in the wrong mindset then.
No, but you have to show a little bit of value. You're saying you should go in not concerned about
no. Yeah, so a lot of brothers there. You see, what you've just said is they've, let's say, met 10 out of 10 girl, and then they tick all the stuff. By default, he's already disqualified himself, because women are attracted to men who are pre-selected. Now, a lot of brothers, they don't really understand what this thing is. So pre-selected man is somebody who has many options with women. Now, if you're somebody who is seeing this woman as, 10 out of 10, this and that, women are very good when it comes to social awareness and social skills. They can pick up on these things, and they'll do these subconscious tests, subliminal things and all these kind of things. Like, through experience, you're gonna understand this, but for guys who are fresh to this, they're not gonna understand this. So there's gonna be certain tests which she's gonna give. Which one of them? I'll give an example. Let's say you're talking to a girl, and then the meeting, the brother, he's thinking, okay, let me speak to her for a couple hours for the meeting. For the first meeting, you want to keep it brief. You don't want to keep it more than 30 minutes, because if you do longer than that, what happens is she sees it as, in her subconscious, that this man here is not on his purpose. He's not on, he's prioritizing me too much too soon.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Do you understand?
Yeah, right.
And then she's seeing that, this guy here might not have other options. So for a woman her hypergamy to be satisfied, she needs to know that you're somebody who's able to get girls at her level and girls who are at a higher level in order for her to fall in love with you. You understand?
Yeah,
now she's going to be like, let's say the 10 out of 10, you're getting on with good chemistry, you're on similar deen, all these kind of things there, and then she's gonna later on do one of the manipulation tactics, which is also known as the pullback. Now, this ain't, you could see as a manipulation tactic, but it's more from a survival perspective. She's gonna pull back to test your character, so she's not gonna answer your calls. She's gonna, you know, flake on you when it comes to a
Yeah,
meeting.
yeah,
She'll be like, "Oh,
yeah.
okay, can we do it the following week?" Now, if you're somebody who, you know, gets upset by that, or
She'll
you're
knock up
somebody
that.
who gets
She'll, yeah,
triggered, or you know, you're somebody who starts to question it and says, "Oh, okay, why X, Y, Z?" Guys have
okay.
failed that interest test, because that shows that
Yeah,
you're
I think,
somebody
yeah, yeah. I
who's
see what you
invested
mean.
more than she is. So then it goes
Yeah,
back
I
to
see
what's the
what you mean.
currency of women? Attention. So as soon as a woman is not
Yeah,
compliant and she's not seen on the same level as you from what you're trying to do, you need to withdraw your attention. And then let's say there's a meeting that you set for next week or the week after, whatever the case is, and she doesn't comply with
yeah,
that. Reason being, she's testing your
yeah,
manhood. You need to withdraw all your attention there. Does that make sense? In order
yeah.
to
I get
pass the
it.
test.
No, I look, I get it. It's how you framed it now. I get it fully. Yeah, I'm with you now, and yeah, bang on, right? They'll all test you like that in one way or the other. If you're just all into her from day one, she knows she's got you, so she ain't got to worry. So she's got the power. If you're more into her, or she knows that you know that she knows that you know that you're punching above your weight. You think she's a 10 out of 10. She's got more leverage. If she knows that you're, the thing is though, for a little guy, young man to be that confident in himself and his abilities in his 20s, right? Yeah, it's not easy, man. Look, we can say these things, yeah, but to be that established, that confident, yeah, where you can go in and just it won't affect you. So you're going on a date, you sit down, bang, you're that much of a confident character within yourself. It doesn't matter how you look or what it is, that energy of confidence and belief in yourself will exuberate and carry you through potentially, and you can control the frame. So how does someone who has not got the same life experience as you, they've not been been through the things you have, yeah? How does he bring out his best self and control the frame ultimately? Because he's not been through that experience. He can't fake that. Look, you can't fake experience. Do you see what I'm saying? You can't fake confidence. Omar, can you hear me? Right, Omar, did
So
you get
yeah, the
that?
connection had gone there.
Yeah, it
For,
went there, went it? Did you hear what I said
sorry, the
about
connection
so
had gone there.
yeah. So let's say a young man, like I
So
said,
you were saying about how a guy with not similar experience
it's a
as
guy who's
myself,
got yeah. So say a
how is
guy
he
who
able to
hasn't
navigate this?
yeah. If say a guy who hasn't had the same experiences. So look, you can do that and control the frame because you know yourself. You're sure about yourself. Yeah, you've been through, like you said, experiences which has given you this belief and confidence in yourself, where you and you've got the knowledge to then back it up, where you'll control that frame straight away. You won't matter because you'll fall back to your principles. You're not looking to her. You're not looking for external gratification. You've got that gratification within yourself and your own confidence and belief where you say, right, done my half an hour, little chit chat. I like her, she's nice. If she wants to take it further, I'll let her know. Bang, gone. Yeah, that confidence, you got that. So for a guy who ain't got the experience you have, he ain't been through the life experiences that you have. He ain't had the bad examples and not bad examples. He hasn't been through bad experiences and pain to develop himself and his character and his emotional, character to know how to take the frame there. How does he navigate this? Because you either are that guy or
Yeah,
you
so it
ain't
goes
to a
back to
certain degree. Are you
experiencing.
with me?
Yeah, so no, it goes back to experience. You're gonna need to go. You're gonna need to get some skin in the game. You're gonna need to learn from your experiences. You're gonna need to understand women, so women's psychology. You need to understand the programming of society and how men have been programmed with beta male tendencies, and you need to work on your masculinity. Now, if you do not do any of these things here, whether it's at the beginning of the relationship, during the relationship, after the relationship, those are gonna start to show. So if a woman, as soon as she start to sense, let's say from the beginning that you're not somebody who you say you are, or you're somebody who's putting on the front, women are very good at sensing that. So it goes back to it. Hypergamy isn't satisfied if you're not dealing with women at her same level. And if as soon as if you show your interest level and you reveal your interest level, straight to her too soon. With women, they fall in love at a longer time period. So it's usually at least 3 to 6 months. With men, it's the opposite. Men kind of know within, the first meeting or whatever the case is, like they'll ask us several questions, be like, okay, this person here, we're quite compatible. A lot of brothers, unfortunately, they've got their barriers to entry so low, yeah. It's embarrassing. They just got looks. She just needs to look all right, and she just like makes a bit of money, and then that's it. Or she plays like sometimes here and there. It's like no, you need to have the details of what you want in a partner. This is what happens when women see that, and they by default she knows this is a man with options, because this man here has got a set criteria, he's got set principles, and he's not compromising on them. So if somebody has a brother who's praying 5 times a day and he's keeping his fast or all these things, he's doing all the right things, and then he's doing well in his career pathway, he's focusing on his purpose. If he's going with a woman who don't pray and somebody who's like promiscuous and all these kind of things there, he's breaking his principles. Do you understand? And women by default they sense that, and they're like, okay, this guy here,
yes,
exactly,
so
because
she,
he's not
so
showing
she,
indifference. You need to show indifference
yeah,
towards all women. You cannot be swayed by a woman's looks, and this is what brothers,
yes,
unfortunately, or guys in general, they have a very difficult time understanding because of the programming from society, where the programming is because of all the bad images, etc. From the way women dress. Men need to program with themselves with these standards as what a woman is as a wife.
looks is
Do you
just
understand?
one
And
metric.
by
Yeah, so
default, that ticks hypergamy.
yeah, okay, no, I
That takes
get that
hypergamy because
100%.
she knows full well that this man here is somebody who can get better. You can get better woman than her, and then hence why she's gonna actually chase that guy there.
Okay, no, I get that.
Does that
And
make
then
sense?
also for the young men out there watching, looks are important, but looks is like you said, is one metric. It's not all four. Looks is just one metric.
Yeah.
Looks is just, yeah, I want to talk to her more. I want to meet her. I'm happy to meet her again if she wants to talk further. So looks is just one metric. It's not the be all and end all, right?
A
Yeah,
lot.
guys see her the first meeting. Yeah, the baller. I'll have some of that.
I gotta keep it real as well. I gotta keep it real as well. A lot of brothers, right? They think that they can just focus on just like shaping up their beard, getting a nice haircut, and just having a little flashy car, and that's gonna get the woman. It's just like no, woman see that, she's gonna be like, oh, okay, let me test him to see what he's about. As soon as he starts to break his principles and character,
Yeah,
because
she got him.
he
She knows
shows
she got him.
indifference towards her,
Yes.
she straight away X'd him out, disqualified him.
Okay,
That's what I was
okay,
telling you. You can only give you like a 5 to 10 second window when it comes to money and all these kind of things. But then as soon as she tests your character and manhood, that's it. You failed.
Okay, no, but let me tell you something, Omar, and I know this. I've seen these couples. I know many couples like this. So what some women do as well, and this is a very important lesson, right? Yeah, because I've seen the other side of this, bro. Yeah. Now, I know couples, right, where you know what you said that guy did. He compromised his time, his principles, or he was meant to leave, but because he was with her having such a good time, he said, "Don't worry, I'll cancel the other guy, or the my next meet. I don't care. I'll lie because I want to be with you." All of these things. So she's noticed she's got leverage. She knows she's got control of him. Yeah. Some women do this test because they're looking for this guy. So you know when you say they chuck him, they don't. They keep that guy. Think about it. And I know these couples, bro.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Look at this guy. Oh, you're
So
talking about a better
said, right?
provider.
No. I'm not talking about provider, bro. This is beyond provider. We're talking like a major. We're talking about control and leverage. She knows, and I got this guy. Yeah, I got leverage. Yeah, he'll cancel his plans for me. But if I got plans, I'll say, "No, sorry, I got to go." Yeah, she's holding the leverage.
Yeah.
Some women do these tests and they look for that man specifically because some men, yeah, I know them, bro. They go work, they come home, they get told what to do, when to do, how to do, and they're happy with that. They don't make any decisions at home. Yeah, I've seen these guys, quiet guys, you know, their wives are running the shit, and I think these guys are happy with that. They have to make no decisions, they've got no stress. She tells him what to do, what he's gonna wear, what looks good on him. Yeah, brother, I'm telling you. So when you say that, some women they see that, oh, he's very agreeable, and they get the ick and they leave. Yeah, they clock that. You know, it doesn't trigger their hypergamy. Some women, it doesn't trigger their hypergamy, but it triggers something else. It triggers the fact that they think, right, he's good because I've got complete control of this relationship. I'll have no resistance to any decision making for the next 60 years. Some women look for that man, yeah.
No.
And when they find that weakness, yeah, bro, I'm telling you, I've seen these couples. I am telling you, I've seen these married couples. I've seen these guys, and I thought, how could he be married to her? She's aggressive, in control. Poor guys, no decisions. And I realized these guys were happy because I don't make any decisions. She decides
They're
what
not
to do,
happy.
what we're doing, when they're doing. These guys are quite. No, some of these guys are not happy. No. From the Desi community, a lot of these guys.
All of them are.
Become
are
a
not
shell of themselves. No, but some of them are happy, bro. I've seen them.
No.
I met, bro. I am telling you, I could say to you that there's no man. I've met men like that who are happy to take the back seat, and that woman they picked him. That what I'm saying to you is the woman they picked this guy, and I'm thinking there is
he's
no
a better male
way.
provider. He's a better male provider. Do you know what? So let me break down better male provider. So all women in general, they look for an alpha seeking man. Now, throughout history, 10 to around 20-30% of men or so procreated with majority of women in the population. Now, if you look at the statistic right now, 40% of men will only procreate.
Yeah, scary. This is scary, but yeah, go on. Scary
Yeah.
stuff, yeah.
So that means 4 out of 10 men are going to get married and going to have children. The rest of them disqualified.
I
Do you
agree.
understand? You can type out
Disqualified.
40%.
Yeah.
That's what. So this means that but this is how it is from history in general as well. Majority of men haven't been able to get the women. Now, this was a normal thing before, back in the day in historical times, where there was multiple wives for a set men. Do you understand? Now, it's men's duty to become that guy, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So the beta male provider is somebody who, a woman, she's not able to get the alpha, or she tried to attain him, but he wasn't complying with her. She then settled with the beta male provider. Now this guy here is paying her bills.
Because he complies. Yeah, the word is
exactly.
compliant. That's what I'm talking about.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
She ain't gonna tame no alpha, but she ain't gonna tame no alpha woman like that. But she can get someone who will comply. That's good enough. Because guess what? I've got a
but it's not good enough.
male.
No. It's not
good enough. It's good enough for her because she
say.
can't get that alpha, and the alpha ain't gonna comply.
It's not good enough for her either. It's not good enough for her either. That's what I'm trying to say to you. Look, the situation is she wasn't able to attain what she wanted. Therefore, hypergamy isn't satisfied.
Okay, fine.
Okay,
right, I
so
get
that's what I'm trying to say. Hypergamy isn't satisfied, so then hence why she goes with a beta male provider, and then she extracts resources from him and extracts attention from him, and then before you know it, it gets to the point where she's extracted so much from him, then she eventually just exits the relationship.
Yeah, it's happening now, bro, in the community. It's happening in the community because now women have been told they've got a lot more options than they really had. Yeah, there's a lot of, again, as you know, I don't know if you're aware, but in the Muslim community. You're at, like you said, you're at the start, you're getting these couples together, but I'm telling you on this side, again, statistically, through a little bit of research and study, 60 to 70% of Muslim marriages ended up in divorce initiated by the women, bro. So it is happening.
Yeah, around 80%. It's around 80%,
Yeah, 80%, yeah. So yeah, you agree, you're in the market, you know,
Yeah.
So it is happening,
Cool.
It's initiated by women, and 80% of Muslim marriages end up in divorce. It's a very sad situation now,
Women are initiating divorce, 80%.
Women are initiating, majority part women are initiating it. This is the key. I've seen brothers, bro. I've seen guys in their 50s, like they've been married for 25 years. Now, I don't know how bad it's 80% is an alarming. It's an alarming statistic, bro. 60, 70%, 80%, alarming statistic, especially in the Asian community. Then leads me to think, where the hell are we headed here? But I want to touch back on what you said about the hypergamous nature. She settles for a compliant male, beta male, however you want to word it, But then let me go back to you then, right? If you look at the Pakistani community, the Indian community, Bangladesh community, the South Asian community in general, and how marriages were conducted the last 20 years ago, 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago, marriages that you could argue, marriages that, I mean, you're saying, okay, people are settling, the women are setting compliant. My point, even back then, everyone settled on some level. In any relationship, does everyone not settle on some level or other? I mean, if I strip it back, if I take my red pill out for a second, I'm even talking about men though, right? Like, even if you look at the marriages that have come so far, that produce the societies and communities, just let's say the whole of the Asian community in England, Women generally thought, oh yeah, okay, been introduced to this guy from the other village or that family or whatever, yeah. He's all right looking. You know, I don't really like him that much, but you know, what the hell, you know, my options are limited. He'll do. And the guy probably looked at her and thought, oh, flipping it, man. You know, I looked at her. She's the best one out of the last three that I looked at. Bloody hell, the last three in the village, mate, they were horrid. She's the best one out of the last three. This best out of a bad bunch. He went with it, and look, not knocking anyone, but they managed to get married. Now, if we go back to spirituality, yeah. So let's put the science aside for a minute. He thought, we're Muslims, we need to get married. Yeah, she's the best out of a bad bunch right now. She's the least worst looking, Allahu Alim. And they've been married for 50, 60 years. They've been happy, bro. Because of cultural, religious doctrine and, you know, cultural, religious inheritance. And they've produced the society we're living in. Grandchildren, entrepreneurs, all the business and enterprise you see in England. So my point is everyone to a certain degree settles, don't they? Everything's leveraged. Oh, she's a bit like this here, but you know what?
Compromise.
Because
everybody has to
everyone
compromise.
compromises. So let's say, for example, men might think, look, she's not the brainiest. She's reasonably intellectual. She's not the brainiest, but she's stunning. So you know what? What the hell? I could give a little bit. Or guess what? Let's put it another way. Then let's put a better example. She's okay looking. I find her attractive on some levels. Yeah, I find certain things attractive about her. Not my type normally, but she's attractive. But guess what? The way she speaks is so eloquent, or she's so brainy, or she's so feminine. So he can leverage that. Or you know what? Which a lot of guys have done is she's not. I know a lot of brothers here categorically. She weren't the best looking. She was okay, but she was on the beam, bro. She was on the namaz. She was on the beam. That was the biggest factor. So everything is compromise and leverage. So when we strip that back a little bit, what's wrong with a little bit of compromise and leverage? Is that not a good thing? Just to play devil's advocate, just to put it out there.
Yeah, of course. So obviously, all humans anyway, in general, you're going to have to compromise anyway. But the situation has become, the barriers to entry for men has become so high now. It's because of the abundance of options.
What about women? See, you don't think that applies to women? That doesn't apply to women. The barriers for entry. That's the word. That's the women. Word. Barrier for entry. It doesn't apply.
Yeah, because what it is why men have become so starved and so thirsty that they'll accept anything.
Yes,
this is what the problem is. Because men will literally, if a woman, as I was telling you, if a woman just has a bit of looks and she hasn't got no caring ability, she's not somebody who has a vision to raise a family, to raise children, she's not trying to improve herself spiritually, she's very career driven and trying to just focus on materialistic, tangible things or experiences. She's very self-centered. Guys will, a lot of these guys, they'll go and entertain that. Where someone like me, as soon as I clock on that a girl is transactional, or she's all these kind of things there, and she's trying to get resources from me, I'm straight away disqualifying her. But men are going to still entertain that and still give their attention, and by default women are going to still pull away and they're going to become less attracted to that.
Okay, I've got it. I figured it out now. See, I've said everything you said, but I just said it in a different way. Yeah, I made a video before. Now, let me give you a practical example of what you're saying in the community, what it looks like. Yeah. Now, you're talking about women, at least they're independent, or they're earning their own money, or they got the potential of earning and this and that, and they're being transactional, and what are you? All of these things. We know women, bro, in the community in England now, yeah, who have no qualifications, no education, other than their daddy's little princess. Yeah? They've got no real intellect of their own in that sense, from a career or an educational perspective. Yeah. Only thing they're offering is, we are women. We're here to get married, and I'm so pretty or whatever. Yeah, daddy's little princess, whatever. They're demanding, and like you said, men. The bar for men is so far. The barrier of entry is so difficult. They will nod along to anything just to have a potential to get married. So what are sisters asking for? You have to have a house up front. Your mum and dad should be nowhere near us. Like, I don't want to see them. Yeah, you have to provide a car day off. You have to do all of this. Yeah. I have to live within proximity of my. I think these demands are up front. They're asking for these demands up front. Yeah, and this is what I've said. And these sisters know they've got the leverage, because look, the gender war has played out. It's just now a gender massacre. The men are on the back foot. They are the leverage of power that you're talking about. This is what I've said to men. If collectively, as a whole, when guys goes to view these potentials and they come out with all of this, they say thank you, but no thank you. I'm not here for a business deal or a transaction. I was actually looking for a wife, a companion, a partner, someone to walk through life with, thick and thin, highs and lows, yeah? Not someone who wants this business transaction, or they want 20,000 Bangladeshi community. I love my Bengali brothers, but unfortunately, £10,000 in gold, £10,000 in meher before you get married. Poor guy, he's come out of university. He's a very clever kid. He's done 5 years study. He's studied doctorate, medical, dentist, whatever you want to call it, lawyer. He's got the potential to make it. He has fire in his belly. He's an alpha. You know why? Because he has fire in his belly. This is what I'm talking about. My man might have studied trading for 5 years. He's got fire in his belly. But guess what? He just come out of university. He's on namaz. He's aware of himself. He prays namaz. He's on the deen. The only thing he lacks is the finances, because guess what? He's in debt. He just come out of uni. Understandable, yeah? In my 20s, I didn't have no money. I was working since I was 16, bro, grafting day and night. I still didn't have any money well into my 20s now, yeah? But so guys come out of university, they're in debt, right, yeah? They're getting by, they're struggling, they're going to make it, they're intellectual. But instead of looking at that, his character, the fire in his belly, that alphaness he has, can he stand on his own 2 feet? Will this guy make it? Will he bring something to the world? Will he contribute to society? I mean, a doctor, this man's going to save lives. They don't care about that. No, but we want a house up front, this and that up front. This is what I'm saying. So, and that is the tangible example that I'm giving of what you're saying. That is what is happening. It's becoming transactional nature. And these women don't even have nothing to offer. So if these brothers, and this is what I said to brothers, take back the power. If we turn around and say to these women, sorry, not interested, guys keep walking out. But like you said, guys are so hungry and thirsty to get married. The power is sitting with the opposite gender. So they sort of nod along into these things, and they've walked in that frame where they're already subdued because they've agreed to the terms.
It goes back to it. It goes back to it. What you've said is you've given an example of him having all them things there, but there's certain principles that he's broken there. If he's entertaining that and he's allowed that, he's been trapped.
No, he shouldn't. No, I'm saying he shouldn't entertain it. I agree with you. He shouldn't. And point is, they are agreeing to it, bro, because that is the marriage crisis.
No, but no, but then that's so exactly. So that breaks his principles. Then he's broken his principles. He's broken his manhood there. Do you understand? So there's over 8 billion people in the world, over 3 billion women in the world, and it goes back to the ultimate abundance mindset. Now, men need to develop this, and they need to realize that there's so many other women out there that they need to be speaking to multiple women. They need to gain experience. They need to understand women's psychology. They need to get rid of the programming, and they need to effectively gain power back. As somebody who is not willing to walk away from the table, so this is what I think Donald Trump, he said it as well. Somebody who's not willing to walk away from the table, he has no negotiation power.
No leverage. He's got no leverage.
Yeah, exactly. So that means that exactly. So he needs to be very clear that as soon as she is showing transactional, oh, I want a house and this and that, he can say, that's something where we can do that, and we can attain them in things in the future. But we're both going to need to grow together and both going to need to develop together, and then inshallah one day we can attain these things here. But it's not a situation that's going to be like that right now. Now, if he also mentions that how he doesn't value, the tangible things, and he values respect, and he values honor, and he values the deen side of it and spirituality more than the actual dunya side, and then he makes that clear to her, woman's going to naturally respect him, even though she may not agree with what he's saying. You need to leave with the man. You need to leave with women's respect at all times. As soon as a woman is not respecting you and you've lost a respectable woman, she exits.
So he needs to stand his ground. What you're saying is, to a certain degree, right, in order to gain her respect, regardless of the fact whether you're interested or not, and even though she's come out, I personally think she's coming out with all these transactional things from the off, you need to get up and walk out and say thanks, but no thanks. I'm looking for more than just a transaction.
Women,
and get up and walk out.
Sorry to interrupt. This is another thing. Women say one thing, but this is where brothers need to realize this. Women say one thing, but they respond to something else. Yes, you understand? You need to look at women's behavior and look at their actions, not what they're saying. So women are very emotional by nature, and their emotions are constantly fluctuating up and down. Now they need somebody who's a man who's steady, who's like a steady rock, who her emotions can sway and stuff like that, and he's firm. So as soon as a woman starts to become argumentative, as soon as she becomes disagreeable, and all these kind of things there. Instead of arguing with her and going back and forth with her, he needs to withdraw his attention. As soon as she shows the slightest disrespect, and this is where girls do this. Girls will do this at the beginning of the relationship, during relationship, or after the relationship. As soon as she shows the slightest thing here, if this brother allows that to occur and he doesn't, let's say, check that, he has two options: either check the behavior or show that he will withdraw attention completely. Those are the only two options. If he does not do either of these two, right, and he submits and he doesn't, comply with that bad behavior, that's effectively, he's lost leverage and power in that relationship now, because that's put her from a survival perspective in jeopardy. Because this man here has broken his principles of manhood. Manhood is you don't take disrespect from no one. And this is where it goes back to the alpha mindset. Don't take disrespect from women. You don't just take disrespect from men. As soon as somebody shows any type of
so what you're saying is you have to highlight what you're saying. So to put it in another context, in a normal day-to-day context, is you have to stand your ground against something you're not comfortable with, whether it's a man or a woman. That is the mindset. You stand your ground, you highlight your healthy boundaries, you make them clear. That will determine to the opposite person that there are boundaries. This person respects themselves and they're not going to put with any old shit. That is basically, to put it a little,
and that takes hypergamy. And
that will take a hypergamous nature of he ain't no pushover, he ain't no mugger ultimately.
And he's different from other men as well.
Subconsciously, she finds this attractive. That will tick the hypergamous box. So basically, the old saying, "Treat them mean, keep them keen." To a certain degree, that's where it comes from. Treat them mean, keep them keen. It's the truest saying if I've ever heard it. It's a truest saying if I've ever heard it, and that's where it comes from. So this is what I'm saying. Look, to change the culture as a whole, and this is what I've said, to change the power dynamics let's say at least in the community, to shift the power dynamics. If more men, more boys are standing up to these demands as a whole, the position where the power sits over there with the sisters, because look, they've been put in a position where they can demand this because they're getting this. Like you said, people are giving into this.
Because men's attention has become valueless in today's society.
And because they're thirsty. That's why, like you said, they're too thirsty. So if we start saying no more often than not to these demands, the needle might shift a bit more to the middle and might get a bit more balanced.
This is where the red pill come in. This is where the red pill side of it is coming up.
Exactly.
So we can link it back to the red pill. So this is because obviously we've been talking about all this other stuff, but the red pill has gone to the other extreme now, where they're seeing the effects of the broken households, how women are taking the assets and all these kind of things. So now these guys in the red pill movement, they're deciding to not entertain. They're deciding to not entertain marriage. Now, exactly. Now, from the Islamic perspective, Islamic nikah is made compulsory upon all Muslims. Now,
that doesn't work for us,
if a guy comes around, what do you mean as in doesn't work for us?
No, I'm saying, like, obviously the red pill ideology of not marrying, it doesn't work for us. We got to get married, bro. We need the car. So we're stuck now. We're stuck in the middle of this mess.
You're not stuck there in that sense, though, because it goes back to it. So women, when a man is somebody of principles and he's of boundaries and he's not entertaining relationship outside of marriage, a lot of these guys in the red pill movement, they trick hypergamy. And this is where you see, for example, where a guy uses Riz and he's trying to chirp up a woman, he's moving into the feminine side of it. Masculine men do not do this. And a lot of this is laughable. When I'm seeing this stuff here on the internet, when I see these YouTube videos or these little shorts on Instagram, this and that, of these guys approaching women and they're trying to use like all these chirps and lines and stuff like that. I'm just like, I've realized, I look at them, it's like, you lot are doing way too much. Women, they laugh and giggle. They may they'll give the number, and then they may even, have a intimate relationship with them. But guess what happens? As soon as she realizes from her subconscious that this guy here is putting on a front, he's changing his nature for me, he's effectively putting me on a pedestal, and then she eventually exits. Do you understand? The matter of principles is from the get-go. He tells her how it is. He's very direct with her. And then as soon as she shows any disrespect, as soon as she shows she doesn't want to comply with him, he exits and he moves on to another woman until that one here comes and she realizes that, oh, okay, this guy here, I have no leverage over him. I have no power over him. I'm just gonna have to submit to what his boundaries are.
Okay. No, fair enough. Okay. Now
So
look, there's a
the,
lot
the
to
ultimate
be.
validation. So women's attention and validation is what women are seeking. As soon as you've given your attention and validation, it becomes worthless. And the ultimate validation is to have an intimate relationship with a woman. Do you understand? So a lot of these red pill guys, they're having short term relationships. This is what they're not saying. So you see, like somebody like Andrew Tate and all these other big influencers with all the materialistic things, they're leading with that, and then they're choosing
Leverage it.
promiscuous women. Yeah, they're
Yes.
choosing the
Yeah.
promiscuous women, and those women they are going to give them the hard time, but they're not going to show that on front of camera. So all these guys who are trying to be like Andrew Tate, trying to be like this high value stuff, it's all BS. That don't work. Women clock on later on. They're like, this guy here is effectively leading with materialism because he's insecure in who he is. He seeks validation from people on the internet, and he's somebody who's very driven by desires. Women need to be led spiritually. Do you understand? And Red Pill lacks this. It's because women
Yes.
aren't being led spiritually. Do you understand? And that's why she exits.
Okay, no, I get it. Right. Okay, look, this leads me nicely onto my next subject. Before you wrap up, I want to quickly touch. I want to touch on this with you, ultimately, because you're a youngster, you're on the scene, you're out there, you deal with 20-year-olds and people in it. You deal with young people. Yeah. Now, you're doing all of this work, all of this information, knowledge. Intersexual dynamics, male, female nature and behavior, and it's been an interesting conversation. Definitely, definitely there's a lot to be learned. We could discuss this a lot further. But when you're making these relationships, let's go back to what you said. So the red pill was born out of consequence of the current family law and the family court system and the way, like you said, and this behavior, this societal position and behavior is there because of the laws of the land. The laws in place have determined the female behavior and nature and men, and the red pill is a consequence now of that. Now, so let's
Yeah.
go back to the root cause to a certain degree. So obviously society as a whole has conditioned women and men, and we've ended up here, and the family laws have supported all of this. You've got to remember, they've supported this transactional behavior and they've encouraged the relationship breakdown as well. So how aware, like even yourself when you came onto the stream when the last stream, when you said I wouldn't get involved with the family court system, the red pill, all the knowledge you have, everything we've discussed, like I said, it's born out of the family court and family lawyer. And like I said, other communities, 10 to 13 men a day post separation unalive themselves in other communities. That's how devastating the laws are, and that's how men are left. Yeah. So when you're doing this matchmaking, you're telling guys, control the frame, this, that, all of this information and knowledge to try and get a good pair together. So he's leading, and he's in his best sort of frame, and the women are in their best frame for the marriage to succeed and whatnot, the relationship to succeed. How much information do youngsters really have, and the perception they have? Like I said, until I entered the system, bro, I had no real understanding of the devastation under that, the laws in place, and how damaging it is. Like it's beyond anything you can imagine. How aware are young men of their rights as fathers one day, as husbands, as men in the law? How much knowledge you have? And even on the last stream, the way you said it, I realized that I
Yeah.
could see you're on that side, and you're not fully aware of how this dictates a lot of things in a relationship. Because the backstop of the law, where if a sister claims abuse, especially if she's hijabi, niqabi, and starts claiming, husband's a monster from Pakistan and he's locked me up and he doesn't let me out, controls me, it's game over, bro. It's game over for him. Yeah. How aware are young people of how brutal these laws are?
They're completely oblivious until somebody actually until they're in that situation. They're not gonna understand it, and they're not gonna actually research it. Because guess what happens from their programming from society? A marriage and relationship is supposed to be all lovey-dovey. It's supposed to be roses, and it's gonna go according to plan. And then divorce is not even in their mind. Does that make sense? And it goes
Yes,
back
that
to it.
makes
They're not
sense.
even willing to exit out of the relationship. This is why they're not even mentally contemplating that. So when they get into that situation, they end up getting devastated. Truly, so this is where all guys as well. This is where someone like yourself, you're actually one of the first people, if not the first person, who's actually demonstrating family court systems and CMS and the actual breakdowns of
Yes.
households, which are
Okay. Okay. So, and what do you
and
think?
someone like yourself educating to the actual consequences of the system.
Okay, it's good. It's good. This is the key. I need young men to understand this, young men and women, especially young men, to know that as a father, you have no rights, automatic rights to see your children. You will be worse off.
Mm,
You will be left for dead. And I think we need to try and push this out further to educate young men. What I say to all your viewers and followers, and I think you should also highlight this to them, that learn the system, learn what your rights is as a father,
mm,
as a husband, how to protect your
yeah,
position financially. Because if you control the frame financially as well, as in if your finances are protected, women are less likely to
yeah,
initiate divorce thinking I've got a better option there, there, or there. Like, they're not short of options, unfortunately, because men are thirsty, like you said, yeah. Hence, this is the whole marketplace is what that's why it's a marriage and divorce crisis. Omar, we could carry on, but I think we're going to have to. I think when you're back in London, you're back in the UK, back in your studio, we'll have to hit this again and touch upon it again.
yeah.
I enjoyed the interaction
Mm-hmm.
and I'm back. But before you go, I've
For
got a
sure,
comment
yeah.
here I want to read out. There's a comment here for you, right, from Hussein.
Mm.
How did you find these women to work for you and how do you benefit them? It's a question for you, Omar.
Yeah, so that's a good question. So these are girls that I've met in real life. I've effectively built a relationship with them in the sense of, you know, getting on with who they are as a person. And
Like
women are straight away
university
very
or
good
work
at
or
sensing.
stuff like that.
So some of them are at university, some of them were outside of like so at workplace, some of them were just like interactions at you know through friends of friends. Do you understand? And those women there, I've been able to get them to comply is because I've shown indifference towards them. And this is something when it
Uh,
comes to energy. Energy is from within. Now, women are very good at social skills. They're very, very socially aware. So when they come across someone like me, yeah, who's got experiences with women and who hasn't broken my principles and who hasn't broken my manhood, they're attracted to that because they're attracted to masculinity. So you need to be the ultimate masculine man. You need to be well-rounded as an individual in order for a woman to comply. And then you need to withdraw your attention and withdraw your validation. Now, with them women, they were effectively hoping to get a relationship with me. Now, I've even had women to come on podcasts. So there was a podcast with Ali Dawa last year. I've gotten these women to comply and submit to get them to come on a podcast in front of cameras and to basically talk about what I want to talk about, to
uh,
promote my own
uh,
business. Do you understand? With the
gotcha.
matchmaking
Yeah.
service. And then this is what it is, and it goes back to it. So these women here, they need to be in love with who you are as a person. And the only way to do that is what I've mentioned in this whole video here: masculinity, principles, boundaries, not showing indifference towards women, not getting swayed by physical exterior. You know, these are all things that you need to work on within yourself in order for a woman to really submit. And then the only way for a woman to submit is for her to have an immense amount of respect for you. You know, she can
Yeah. I
never
think,
respect you if you're somebody who breaks his principles. And that includes the
yeah.
haram relationship. So a lot of these guys in the haram relationships and stuff like that, they are leading the women, you know, down the hellfire, basically the spiritual side of it. And then that's why women exit it.
Yeah. I think, Omar, I think if I could summarize your message and the way I've read it, and I think it comes down to this for a man. You have to build your character, your internal, whatever. And this is what I've said in acting, they tell you this: whatever is your subtext is what you'll project in your acting. So in acting, they teach you subtext. Yeah, if your subtext is correct on the scene, that will project in your body language because energy you can't measure.
Yeah,
So in order for your subtext to be correct in these interactions with women,
mm,
you have to build your internal, build your character. And to me, what does
yeah.
that mean? And this is what I talk about in my mindset course, mindset
So
course,
to make the
and my
differentiation,
mindset.
it's not the tangible and it's not the exterior that you're talking about.
No,
You're
it's
talking
not
about the internal.
100%
You're talking about the
internal,
internal.
100%.
Correct.
Because that's what I'm saying.
100%. That's right.
Yeah, no, and I totally agree with you. And not just in relation to women, I
Mm.
would say that applies to all aspects of life because
Of
you can't
life.
fake, you
Exactly.
can never fake who you are, number one. And
Facts.
how
Yeah.
do you do that? So, one tangible step I'll give to anyone who wants to grow, because you have to go on a journey of self-development and growth, build your internal character. Like I said, you've been studying for 4 years, hence you can sit here and talk about this, and you know this because you
But that's just the
sacrificed
4
something.
years. But that's just the 4 years of focusing on women. But then the other life experiences.
No, life experience as well. But my point is, you've taken from all of those, but the last 4 years, you've used your previous experiences to compile your knowledge and other stuff. But my point is, you went through something. So how do you go through something as a young man? I say you read books. How do you expand your mind? So you expand your intellect. You got to read books. These days, you could say audio books or educational podcasts, maybe, but you need to read shit. It's as simple as. And I'll say it from my own admission. Like I said, I'm on my own journey. If you look here, I'm reading books. That's Miyamoto Musashi, Book of Five Rings, Dale Carnegie. That's a YouTube book. I'm also studying a lot of Robert Greene, 48 Laws of Power, and a lot of his books as well. So you have to educate yourself, and you have to invest in yourself as a person. As a man, invest in yourself, study. I do a lot of this mindset coaching now with a lot of fathers. Ultimately, if you strip all of this conversation back, it's changing that mindset. If you are steel inside, that will reflect outward in your behavior. If your cup is full inside, you're not looking for the external to fill you up. That's the key. A lot of brothers, when they go into these negotiations,
I want to add to that point where you've just said that women are very insecure by their nature. They actually have very low confidence. Hence why they wear makeup, they wear promiscuous clothing, and all these kind of things. Now, if a man who is truly confident within himself, this isn't from the exterior of what you've got and what you look like.
It's interior.
He's confident from within himself.
Yes.
Women are able to sense that. Exactly. Women are able to sense that energy within you.
Yes.
Do you understand? And hence why they become attracted to that.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
bro.
sorry,
This is what when I coach fathers and I coach men that are trying to get themselves back together, and I say to them, next relationship you go into, your marriage, you're not going for external validation. If your internal is steel, you don't need external validation. That's the difference. Yeah. If your cup is half full, she brings a cup that's half full. Together, you can build a full cup. But when your cup is empty and you want someone to fill it up for you, that is the recipe for disaster. This is where it goes wrong. So in order to be steel inside, you got to study.
That point. But we want to clarify on that point. Your cup needs to be full anyway, regardless.
Yes, your cup
because
needs to be full.
When a woman comes into your life, she complements your life. She shouldn't be like, as in,
you're not looking for external fulfillment. Yeah,
you shouldn't be less fulfilled in life.
No, I'll just say from an Islamic perspective. No, but from an Islamic perspective, she completes half your deen. You know, your love are for each other for companionship.
And that point as well. So you need to be working for a given purpose.
And look, but I'm a bit old school, bro. There's nothing wrong with a bit of chemistry and companionship, and you got to have a little bit of that. It can't be just steel all the time. You got to have a little bit of
but it links to that. It links to that.
Chemistry. Yeah. You got to have that bit of chemistry, and if she's got a little bit of her own personality and her own cup, you can drink from that, bro. I'm saying, if she's got a cup half full, you can drink from it, bro. You don't need it to fill you up, but you can have a little taste from it, a little bit taste of honey, and enjoy it, and vice versa. But you're steel inside. You'll still be solid with or without it. That is just an icing on the cake, and together you can flourish because you're bringing something to the table. But this is what I'm telling men and young men. You're not looking for external to build this, You got to bring the table and put half on the table. You got to bring the table and bring half to the table. And she puts a little bit of nice perfume musk that goes on that table.
You need to be complete. You need to be complete as an individual.
She will compliment it, but my point is, you got to build your table and bring it, bro. Hence, read, train, study, spirituality, know what you're about. Quote from Bruce Lee, know yourself to know others. The key lesson that I've learned from you, Omar, is to implement all of this. You have to know yourself. You have to know who you are. And in your 20s, I'll go back and say, in my 20s, what were my principles? I don't know, bro. I was a very different man back then. So the key is you have to know yourself. Know yourself to know others. And you can only be steel if you know who you are. And in order to know who you are, read, study, expand your mind, go and try different things, different activities, go and hang around with different social circles. Don't just have one group of mates. I would say hang around with different type of people, different social
And be
circles,
around
met
masculine men
different
in
people.
order to gain that masculinity.
Yes, and you have to diversify your pool of who you're hanging with. Otherwise, the same people you're hanging with, that's what you'll absorb. You'll be saying what they say. That's what their opinions are. You got to find out what your opinion. What I say to all those youngsters is, what is your opinion? Not what you heard, not what you saw on YouTube, not what Omar and Farouk from Disqualified.Dads said. What do I think? How do I feel about this? Why do I feel like that about this? Figure that out.
Individual thinking.
Exactly, man. You got to know yourself, and that will project in your body language. That energy, that masculinity, that growth will project. That is how I will put it out there. That is what I coach, teach men mindset, and I help them get past very difficult traumatic situations to build themselves into steel, to get themselves up and running, and realize that they don't need anyone. You can rely on yourself. Build yourself so that you can rely on yourself. You don't need to rely on no one else ultimately. And I think the message ultimately, when you strip this all back, Omar, our message is the same. Yeah. Build your internal, know who you are, accept who you are. And once you know that, I think that will automatically project and manifest in your body language and behavior and environment. And that can be applied to not just women, marriage, career, in-laws,
In
family,
all areas of life.
friends, relationships. It has to expand to every part of your life, because you won't change anywhere, because you're still inside. You won't external won't affect your internal. You'll still remain who you are. So build
Facts,
yourself, build
100%.
your internal. Right, one more thing from Hussein. Omar, I'll read it out to you and see if you need a response for that or not. Right, Hussein has said, obviously you don't aspire to this kind of relationship where women are running the show, but how is that kind of relationship functioning in society? Right, last word on that, Omar. What do you say to that comment?
Wait, sorry, say that
I'll
again.
read it
What's the
again.
question
Right,
again? I didn't quite
I'll
hear you.
read it again. The question is, obviously you don't aspire to this kind of relationship where women are running the show, but how is that kind of relationship functioning in society? I think is
How
functioning.
is it
I can
functioning?
answer that actually. Is functioning in society where it's not. We are where we are. This is why Disqualified.Dads is born. Those relationships are ending up here, brother, in broken homes. Society is breaking down ultimately, and this is what I've said. This is new for the Asian community. This is new for the Muslim community. But the breakdown of this community has also started. Other communities have been broken down 40, 50 years ago. They haven't progressed as well. They haven't done as well. If you look at immigrant communities, especially the Asian community, the South Asian Muslim community, and overall South Asian community has done really well because of that nuclear family unit. With this doctrine now, like Brother Omar said, this
Indoctrination.
conditioning, this indoctrination, the families are breaking down. Relationship divorces on the rise. They're not functioning. And those that are still functioning, they're very miserable. Guys are just a shadow of themselves. They walk with their head down. They live with imposter syndrome all day. They go to work, they come home, they pretend to be happy. They pretend it's okay because they don't want to lose their kids. They don't want to be made homeless. They know they're going to be completely lost. So they've got no self-respect or dignity. Head down, crack on. And look, I'm not knocking them men. We should reach out to these men and support them. Yeah. Don't look down on them. These men have done the ultimate self-sacrifice for the sake of their children, bro. You have no idea. People have no idea what sort of a man it takes, what sort of an alpha it takes to make that sort of sacrifice for his children,
Of
bro,
course.
for his offspring. Yeah. There's a lot of men who suffer in silence for their children, bro, ultimately to protect that next generation. Omar,
Of
any
course.
final words, any final thoughts and words before we wrap this up?
Yeah, so I would just say to brothers, goes back to it. So masculine frame, maintain masculine frame at all times. Have principles, have boundaries. Focus on your dean. The dean has all the answers in life. In terms of getting women, you know, it will be really simple in the sense of if you're working on your God-given purpose each and every single day, you know where you're heading to in life, you know what your objectives are in a life, you know what sort of life that you want, and how you value family and deen over materialistic possessions and exterior possessions, and you're somebody who surrounds yourself with good quality positive people, so around masculine men, and leveling yourself up in all areas, so mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. You need to excel in all these areas here each and every single day, and you need to become more well-rounded each and every single day. So like communication skills and so on and so forth. A lot of brothers, unfortunately, they excel in certain areas, but they're lacking in other areas. So if you've got 10 different levels, all 10 different levels here, you need to get an average of 7, 7 or 8 or 6 across all of them, rather than 9 and 10 across 2, 3 of them. But the rest of them, you've got 3s and 4s. This is where the problem is. And this is where women, when they give you these tests, when you don't understand their psychology, you don't understand the mindset, and you don't understand the interest test that they give to you when it comes to meeting them, when it comes to the marriage meetings, when it comes to marriage and all these kind of things, they're going to be poking holes in your character. And if there's a lot of holes that are poked, she's able to manipulate and exploit it, and then later on she exits. But if there's not that many holes in your character, and you're solidified in who you are as a person, as a man, then it becomes very difficult for her to try and, get weaknesses out of you. Hence why she's going to fall in love with you more. It's going to become very difficult for her to walk away from someone like you. So become a man of substance, become a man of principles and character.
Omar, I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. I think in the future, once you're back in the UK, back in your studio, maybe we should arrange a live stream. I'll arrange a live stream between yourself and maybe a sister or a lady, someone on the other end who can counter some of this stuff back and forth and really dissect it. If you're up for it, we can do that in the future. But listen, thank you for your time. Thank you for coming. Follow Omar on Instagram. King of Pips on Instagram. Follow him. I'll put his handle up before I go again. Omar, absolute pleasure. Guys, thank you for watching Disqualified Dads. Please like, subscribe, follow, and share, and I will see you on the next one. Before I go, let me just put his handle back up. This is Omar, King of Pips. Check him out. His link to his marriage website is on there as well. So tap him up. If you're looking for a bride, tap him up. Need some advice or info, tap him up.
Too many girls I'm trying to filter, bro. It gets to a point. You see, this is what I say when it goes to the experience side of it. I've had interactions at least between 500 to 1,000 girls, and I tell this to guys, and they're just shocked. This is why I'm really able to understand women. It's because of all my experiences through all these years.
Okay, no, this is good. No, this is what we do. When you get back in the UK, look, we'll arrange another live stream. We'll get you back on, and we'll carry on. We'll dissect a little bit further. Right, this has gone on long enough. Let's wrap this up. Omar, thank you for your time again, guys. Thank you for watching Disqualified Dads. Like, subscribe, follow, and share. Thank you all. See you on the next one.
Take care.